Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now February 4th of 2023, and as we get closer to March 1st, the very day of the Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1 releases on the actual platform, a lot of fans are actually really gearing up for especially the Ahsoka series because of how much it has to offer with the mythology, and given that it's mainly being created by Dave Filoni, what you liked about Mando Season 2, and of course, especially with the Ahsoka episode in there, and the Book of Boba Fett's episode revolving around Luke, if you like those two big episodes, you're gonna love about what's about to come in the Ahsoka show. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Disney and Lucasfilm that they actually are beginning to brew behind the scenes are plans to bring Star Wars back to the actual cinemas and the movies at large. Basically, they want to bring Star Wars back to a state where they can rely on, number 1, ticket sales, number 2, repeat ticket sales, and number 3, they can also count on re-releasing potential successful movies if they actually reach that plateau. The thing about this too is that they are developing over a dozen Star Wars shows simultaneously with a handful of movies already in the works. So they're really tied up behind the scenes. And with that being said and all, what's really exciting is exactly which series of films are actually being treated as a priority right now, one of which has a lot to do with a specific era that a lot of hardcore fans really just cherish and love and really paid a lot of respect to throughout the 2000s. So let's dive right into this all. So with Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready to develop new Star Wars shows and films to add to the roadmap, they are also in the process of hiring new creatives as well as replacing some other creatives at Lucasfilm to better their creative field. Now, it's noted that both FAVREAU and Filoni are beginning to work on the Old Republic trilogy as co-writers, and have been providing numerous notes to Disney about their vision and where it's all going to go as of right now for the first film of the OR trilogy, and how it's set to focus on characters like Darth Bane, Darth Zana, as well as Revan and Malgus, and different points in time during the OR trilogy. As of now, Disney has all eyes on actor Michael Fassbender to portray Darth Bane in the upcoming film. Fassbender has already been approached by Disney about this new trilogy that's in the early stages. Now let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now we talked about this briefly a couple of weeks ago, about how Fassbender is the main interest by Disney right now to portray the role of Darth Bane. Now, I've seen a lot of people pointing out that they would prefer somebody more bulky in design, somebody with more muscle, so to speak, to portray that role. But I will admit, Fassbender could really play the role very well if he trains up and really builds himself up and really gets in shape. To that degree, he could definitely pull it off. And I think where Disney's coming from, and this is just my 2 cents, I think why they have all eyes on Michael Fassbender as a Sith Lord is they're using the aesthetics of Magneto from X-Men. We all see what Magneto does. He can pretty much, manipulate metal and move things around, and he's got that aesthetic, right? Michael Fassbender as Magneto. He's got that overall form of a Force user when he's doing stuff like that, and I think that's where Disney got the idea from, but that's just me. Now, the thing about this is that it goes way beyond just Fassbender. Basically, this OR trilogy is all about hiring a lot of A-list actors and actresses to not only bring in very talented people, but to also use it as a marketing move or almost as a tactic to get a lot of fans into the theater seats. If you're a fan of Michael Fassbender, you're probably going to check out that Star Wars movie. Or if you're a fan of, let's say, for example, they have been in the talks with Jennifer Connelly still to portray in this actual trilogy. If you're a fan of Connelly's work, you're going to go ahead and see Connelly's Star Wars film. It seems like that is Disney's way of thinking, and may or may not be the right way, but at the same exact time, it's going to help them to a certain percentage. Now, with that being said, what's even all the more interesting about this is that actress Gal Gadot, or Gadot, I know a lot of people pronounce it differently, was also contacted again by Disney, as she was initially set to play a role in the previous version of this one that was going to focus on Sith royal families. You guys may recall that we talked about this back in 2020 a lot of times, in a different era, then now switched to the Old Republic. Gal Gadot, or Gadot, portraying an unknown character as of now, and she has said to hold great interest in the role. Now, Gal reportedly got her shot at Lucasfilm. This is where things get interesting, is that through Patty Jenkins is how she got her connections over at Lucasfilm at the time, of holding a connection with Lucasfilm because Patty was creating Rogue Squadron, and how her Rogue Squadron film eventually sadly went sour. Alright, so that film did not really pan out, it did not move forward, and it didn't necessarily put Gal in a negative spot. You know, they know that Gal holds a lot of acting capability. It's not just because, you know, they're going to focus on Wonder Woman 1984 and its poor reception, but they're looking at her other films as well. So the plan by Disney is to make George Lucas also the third co-writer of the first film, and they are searching for a main writer to take care of the whole trilogy as of now. They have had eyes on Matt Reeves as a main writer, since they are focused on making Star Wars dark and gritty. Now, I'm not quite sure about Matt Reeves. I will be honest, The Batman, that released back, you know, about a year ago or so, I will be honest, it was a good watch, but it wasn't really a watch for me to watch it multiple times. I just found myself watching it once, and that was a good watch. So, I'm not quite sure if Matt Reeves will be the go-to guy as the main writer. The good news is you got Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas as co-writers, helping out with the main writer, which is up in the air still. So hopefully Disney gets, you know, a good placement on that. Again, we're going to be learning all about this OR trilogy at the end of this year, leading into 2024, when Disney begins really kind of ramping things up and including all these great announcements in their upcoming earnings calls. So that's another thing to look forward to, is that you have all of these different main characters that fans grew up with. Malgus, Revan, Zana, Bane, all these beloved characters in the Old Republic, and specifically other characters also that are going to become a part of this Knights of the Old Republic. Basically, the OR trilogy is all about focusing on different characters at different points in time in this massive era, because it does stretch a lot of years. So anyways, I think it's a great move. This is what they should have done right from the get-go. If they wanted to focus on non-Skywalker-oriented stuff, it's going to get fans very much familiar with the great content, and if you guys haven't seen it, check out the Old Republic cinematics on the internet. And yeah, that's about it for today, guys. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.